Hello, yesterday we got acquainted with flying ships in the past in 743 over Ireland. Hello, today, another case from good old Europe, France. Magonia, the legend of the sky ships that come from the clouds. Magonia is one of the strangest and most difficult to explain legends connected with sky ships and beings that do not belong to our world. The story appears in the 9th century in France, but its description is so unusual that today it sounds more like an account of an extraterrestrial civilization than a medieval legend. At the center of this narrative is the idea of a place or world located somewhere in the sky, from which ships come that can move among the clouds. According to the chronicles, people of that time believed that there existed a region called Magonia, from which sky ships descended to Earth. They did not merely appear as lights or unexplained objects, but were perceived as real vessels, operated by beings that interacted with our world. In some accounts, it is mentioned how people were accused of having fallen from these ships, which led to tension and even the danger of lynching before the intervention of clergymen. What makes this story so interesting is its structure. It does not resemble a typical myth filled with symbolism and exaggeration. Instead, the descriptions sound like an attempt to explain something real using the available language and understanding of the time. Ships moving in the sky, beings descending from them, and interaction with humans. These are elements that today are easily associated with the concept of UFOs. Even more intriguing is that the legend of Magonia does not remain isolated. It begins to appear in different forms in other regions and periods. In some cases, there is talk of ships that collect crops after storms. In others, of beings that observe people or even interact with them. This repetition of motifs suggests that it is something more than a local superstition. One of the most interesting aspects is the way people in the 9th century perceived the sky. For them, the atmosphere was not empty space, but something like an ocean in which ships could move. This way of thinking, although primitive from today's perspective, strangely aligns with modern ideas of objects that can move across different environments without limitation. Over time, Magonia has been interpreted in various ways. Some view it as a mythological place, others as an allegory, and still others as an early description of contact with an unknown civilization. What remains unchanged is the fact that the account contains details that are difficult to explain by imagination alone. When this case is considered together with other historical observations, a pattern begins to emerge. Sky objects behaving like controlled craft, beings that appear foreign to our environment, and human attempts to explain them through religion or mythology. This is not an isolated phenomenon, but a recurring motif in human history. If Magonia is simply a legend, It is unusually detailed and persistent over time. But if there is a real event behind it, then the question is no longer whether people in the past saw UFOs, but what exactly they observed and why these encounters were described in this way. This raises a deeper perspective on the subject. Perhaps it is not about a new phenomenon that appears with the development of technology, but about something that has always been part of our reality, interpreted according to the knowledge of each era.